power of seeing your story really gives people a lot of confidence.
This is an interesting question. Does it count as a pivot if we're still pre-product?
If you feel that what you have is golden, then push yourself.
What is common between all the people in the world is everybody wants to do right.
And I was like, I wish I knew what's the real problem that he has this much pain. And then I was thinking, the device like what I have can tell that what's going on.
I want to go back to one thing you said, and then we'll come back to your business. A core element of entrepreneurs who succeed is what you just said, which was, I wanted to make an impact. Mm-hmm. See, your intentions of that we talked about, so that it's kind of related. The intention of making an impact is what's driving you to go in a certain direction.
Correct.
Right? It's what's driving you to go in a certain direction. Now, how many times have you changed your direction since you started?
3 times.
Was your intentions changed?
No, the intention was the same. The impact I wanted to make was the same, but like we had to do a couple of pivots. We were rehab device tool, then we realized we don't need to be a rehab tool, we can be a monitoring tool that way can have a bigger impact, basically. So
you went over here, and how did you find out that it wasn't working? Did you work with consultants? Did you work with customers? Did you work with who? Who told you, hey, it's not going to work? And did you give up?
Yeah, I talked to the potential customer, which would be the physical therapy centers. I saw the adoption rate is very small because of the reimbursement and all that.
It's all about money. Good.
All about money.
It's all about money.
I try to convince them that this is good for your patients, and then you're gonna admit more patients, and it would be easier work-life balance for your staff. And then, but no matter how much that's part of the business. You always have to show the financials too. But I talked to a couple of centers, and they always had this mindset that I'm gonna steal their revenue. So, and then I was like, okay, maybe this is not a good path. The adoption rate for them is low, so it's better to focus on, and I talked to other customers, which is clinicians, and at the conference and at the workshops, and I tried to get their feedback. I realized that doctors are more ready for this and they're looking for it. And then I was like, so we can be a monitoring device, and we leave it up to patients. When they go to the physical therapy centers, they can take this brace with them and then do the exercises there, and then monitor it by themselves. So
let's kind of unpack this a little bit, because there's a learning experience. What I always say, it's you don't sell, they buy.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
And they buy based on their own reasons.
Yes.
And unless you don't discover those reasons, it's, oh, this is great, look what it's going to do, look what is it. It doesn't fit me. First, I can't bill it. Second, you're competing with what I'm doing. Yeah. Third, it's too complicated to use this. Fourth, I'm not the guy who's hurt. I don't need this. Right? So yeah. Identifying, and now, why would the doctors care? Or is it really the patient that cares? Who cares?
Patient and doctor, they both care, because patients, number one problem is patient compliance. They go to a couple of physical therapy. They don't know how. I was one of those patients myself. Let's say I was one of the end user for my product, that I went to a couple of physical therapy sessions, and I asked my physical therapists, which they were awesome, they were great, but I was like, how many more sessions do I need? They're like, we don't know, as much as you want. And I was like, it's not like that.
Because as long as they pay for it, insurance pays for it.
Yeah. And then I reached to the point that my insurance didn't pay for it anymore. And I was an entrepreneur. I needed money. I wanted to save. So it was like, so it's the time for me to ask how many more sessions do I need? And it's expensive. So they're like, up to you. And then they gave me a survey that like, how do you feel? How much you can walk throughout the day? And all those type of simple questions. And then they wanted, based on that simple survey, tell me when is the time to stop this. And I was like, you definitely need accurate
Is that where the idea of monitoring came from?
Yeah, I wanted it. That's one of the impact it can make. It can tell the
No, but did you say, hey, there should be a way to monitor this? Was that the aha moment?
Yes. So it came from my mom originally that had shoulder problem for a long time since I was 5 years
Aha.
old. And I was seeing her and I was like, how many more sessions you need to go? And she was doing this for a couple of sessions. After a few years, the problem was back. And I was like, probably it was not effective. So it was coming from like the history and then the pain my mom had with limited shoulder mobility.
You see, I like the journey, because when we drilled down, it wasn't your PhD that drove you to do this
Exactly.
thing. It was a real pain that you felt in somebody else, your mom pain. And then you tried to say, oh, let me go solve it from the direction that you had originally rubbed against, which was the therapist. And then you go, oh, that doesn't work. And they're right. They want to have you continue all the way. They don't want you fixed. I mean, they're good people, but as long as they can continue doing it, they. Thanks for watching. You can catch the full hot seat sessions through the links in the description or the pinned comment below. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you inside the Academy.